Yashar, Jasher, chapter 55. And it came to be after this that Yaakov said, I will go and see my son in Mitsrayim, but will then come back to the land of Canaan, of which Elohim hath spoken to Abraham, for I cannot leave the land of my birthplace. See, the word of Yahweh came to him, saying, Go down to Mitsrayim with all your household, and remain there. Fear not to go down to Mitsrayim, for I will make you a great nation there. And Yaakov said within himself, I will go and see my son, whether the fear of his Elohim is still in his heart among all the inhabitants of Mitsrayim. And Yahweh said to Yaakov, Fear not about Yosեպh, for he still holds to his integrity to serve me, as will seem good in your eyes. And Yaakov rejoiced exceedingly concerning his son. At that time Yaakov commanded his sons and household to go to Mitsrayim according to the word of Yahweh to him. And Yaakov rose up with his sons and all his household, and he went out from the land of Canaan from Beersheba with joy and gladness of heart, and they went to the land of Mitsrayim. And it came to be when they came near Mitsrayim, Yaakov sent Yehudah before him to Yosեպh, that he might show him a place in Mitsrayim. And Yehudah did according to the word of his father, and he hurried and ran and came to Yosեպh. And they assigned for them a place in the land of Goshen for all his household. And Yehudah returned and came along the way to his father. And Yosեպh harnessed the chariot, and he assembled all his mighty men and his servants and all the officers of Mitsrayim, in order to go and meet his father Yaakov. And Yosеф's decree was proclaimed in Mitsrayim, saying, All that do not go to meet Yaakov shall die. And on the next day Yosեպh went out with all Mitsrayim, a great and mighty host, all dressed in garments of fine linen and purple, and with instruments of silver and gold, and with their weapons of battle with them. And they all went to meet Yaakov with all kinds of musical instruments, with drums and timbrels, scattering myrrh and aloes all along the way. And they all went after this manner, and the earth shook at their shouting. And all the women of Mitsrayim went up on the roofs of Mitsrayim and on the walls to meet Yaakov. And on the head of Yosեպh was Pharaoh's royal crown, for Pharaoh had sent it to him to put on at the time of his going to meet his father. And when Yosեպh came within 50 amah of his father, he came down from the chariot, and he walked toward his father. And when all the officers of Mitsrayim and her nobles saw that Yosեպh had gone on foot toward his father, they also came down and walked on foot toward Yaakov. And when Yaakov approached the company of Yosեպh, Yaakov saw the company that was coming toward him with Yosեպh, and it delighted him, and Yaakov was astonished at it. And Yaakov said to Yehudah, Who is that man whom I see in the camp of Mitsrayim, dressed in royal robes, with a great red garment on him, and a royal crown on his head, who has come down from his chariot, and is coming toward us? And Yehudah answered his father, saying, He is your son Yosեպh the sovereign. And Yaakov rejoiced in seeing the esteem of his son. And Yosեպh came near to his father, and he bowed to his father, and all the men of the company bowed to the ground with him before Yaakov. And see, Yaakov ran and hurried to his son Yosեպh, and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. And Yosեպh also embraced his father and kissed him, and they wept, and all the people of Mitsrayim wept with them. And Yaakov said to Yosեպh, Now I will gladly die after I have seen your face, that you are still living and with esteem. And the sons of Yaakov and their wives and their children and their servants and all the household of Yaakov wept exceedingly with Yosեպh, and they kissed him and wept greatly with him. And Yosեպh and all his people returned home to Mitsrayim afterward. And Yaakov and his sons and all the children of his household came with Yosեպh to Mitsrayim. And Yosեպh placed them in the best part of Mitsrayim, in the land of Goshen. And Yosեպh said to his father and to his brothers, I will go up and tell Pharaoh, saying, My brothers and my father's household and all belonging to them have come to me, and see, they are in the land of Goshen. And Yosեպh did so, and took of his brothers Reuven, Yisachar, Zebulun, and his brother Benjamin, and he placed them before Pharaoh. And Yosեպh spoke to Pharaoh, saying, My brothers and my father's household and all belonging to them, together with their flocks and cattle, have come to me from the land of Canaan to sojourn in Mitsrayim, for the scarcity of food was hard on them. And Pharaoh said to Yosеф, Place your father and brothers in the best part of the land. Do not withhold from them any that is good, and cause them to eat of the fatness of the land. And Yosеф answered, saying, See, I have settled them in the land of Goshen, for they are shepherds. Therefore let them remain in Goshen to feed their flocks apart from the Mitsrites. And Pharaoh said to Yosef, Do with your brothers all that they shall say to you. And the sons of Yaakov bowed down to Pharaoh, and they went out from him in peace afterward. And Yosef brought his father before Pharaoh. And Yaakov came and bowed down to Pharaoh, and Yaakov berakah Pharaoh. And then he went out, and Yaakov and all his sons and all his household dwelt in the land of Goshen. In the second year, that is, in the 130th year of the life of Yaakov, Yosef sustained his father and his brothers, and all his father's household with bread according to their little ones. All the days of the scarcity of food they lacked naught. And Yosef gave to them the best part of the whole land. They had the best of Mitsrayim all the days of Yosef. And Yosef also gave to them and to the whole of his father's household clothes and garments year by year. And the sons of Yaakov remained safely in Mitsrayim all the days of their brother. And Yaakov always ate at Yosef's table. Yaakov and his sons did not leave Yosef's table day or night, besides what Yaakov's children ate in their houses. And all Mitsrayim ate bread during the days of the scarcity of food from the house of Yosef, for all the Mitsrites sold all belonging to them because of the scarcity of food. And Yosef purchased all the lands and fields of Mitsrayim for bread on the account of Pharaoh. And Yosef supplied all Mitsrayim with bread all the days of the scarcity of food. And Yosef collected all the silver and gold that came to him for the grain which they bought throughout the land. And he accumulated much gold and silver, besides an immense quantity of shohim stones, bdellium, and valuable garments which they brought to Yosef from every part of the land when their silver was spent. And Yosef took all the silver and gold that came into his hand, about 72 kikars of gold and silver, and also shohim stones and bdellium in great quantities. And Yosef went and concealed them in 4 parts. And he concealed 1 part in the wilderness near the Sea of Reeds, and 1 part by the river Perath, and the 3rd and 4th part he concealed in the desert opposite to the wilderness of Paras and Madai. And he took part of the gold and silver that was left, and gave it to all his brothers, and to all his father's household, and to all the women of his father's household, and the rest he brought to the house of Pharaoh, about 20 kikars of gold and silver. And Yosef gave all the gold and silver that was left to Pharaoh, and Pharaoh placed it in the treasury. And the days of the scarcity of food ceased after that in the land, and they sowed and reaped in the whole land, and they obtained their usual quantity year by year. They lacked naught. And Yosef dwelt safely in Mitsrayim, and the whole land was under his counsel, and his father and all his brothers dwelt in the land of Goshen, and took possession of it. And Yosef was very aged, advanced in days, and his 2 sons, Ephraim and Manasseh, remained constantly in the house of Yaakov, together with the children of the sons of Yaakov, their brothers, to learn the ways of Yahweh and his Torot. And Yaakov and his sons dwelt in the land of Mitsrayim, in the land of Goshen, and they took possession in it, and they were fruitful and multiplied in it. Yashar, Jasher, chapter 56. And Yaakov lived in the land of Mitsrayim 17 years, and the days of Yaakov and the years of his life were 147 years. At that time Yaakov was struck with the illness of which he died, and he sent and called for his son Yoseph from Mitsrayim. And Yoseph his son came from Mitsrayim, and Yoseph came to his father. And Yaakov said to Yoseph and to his sons, See, I am dying, and the Elohim of your ancestors will visit you and bring you back to the land which Yahweh swore to give to you and to your children after you. Now therefore, when I am dead, bury me in the cave which is in Machpelah in Hebron, in the land of Canaan, near my ancestors. And Yaakov made his sons swear to bury him in Machpelah in Hebron, and his sons swore to him concerning this matter. And he commanded them, saying, Serve Yahweh your Elohim, for he who delivered your fathers will also deliver you from all trouble. And Yaakov said, Call all your children to me. And all the children of Yaakov's sons came and sat before him, and Yaakov beraked them, and he said to them, Yahweh Elohim of your fathers shall grant you 1,000 times as much and berakah you, and may he give you the berakah of your father Abraham. And all the children of Yaakov's sons went out on that day after he had beraked them. And on the next day Yaakov again called for his sons, and they all assembled and came to him and sat before him. And on that day Yaakov beraked his sons before his death, each man he beraked according to his berakah. See, it is written in the book of the law of Yahweh pertaining to Yisrael. And Yaakov said to Yehudah, I know, my son, that you are a mighty man from your brothers. Reign over them, and your sons shall reign over their sons forever. Only teach your sons the bow and all the weapons of battle, in order that they may fight the battles of their brother who rule over his enemies. And Yaakov again commanded his sons on that day, saying, See, this day I shall be gathered to my people. Carry me up from Mitsrayim, and bury me in the cave of Machpelah, as I have commanded you. However, please take heed that none of your sons carry me, only yourselves. And this is the manner you shall do to me when you carry my body to go with it to the land of Canaan to bury me. Yehudah, Yisachar, and Zebulun shall carry my coffin at the eastern side, Reuven, Shimon, and Gad at the south, Ephraim, Manasseh, and Benjamin at the west, Dan, Asher, and Naphtali at the north. Let not Levi carry with you, for he and his sons will carry the ark of the covenant of Yahweh with the Israelites in the camp. Neither let Yosեպh my son carry, for as a sovereign so let his esteem be. However, Ephraim and Manasseh shall be in their place. Thus shall you do to me when you carry me away. Do not neglect any matter of all that I command you. And it shall come to pass when you do this to me, that Yahweh will remember you favorably and your children after you forever. And you, my sons, honor each his brother and his relative, and command your children and your children's children after you to serve Yahweh Elohim of your ancestors all the days, in order that you may prolong your days in the land, you and your children and your children's children forever, when you do what is good and right in the sight of Yahweh your Elohim, to go in all his ways. And you, Yosեպh my son, please forgive the wrongs of your brothers and all their misdeeds in the injury that they heaped upon you, for Elohim intended it for you and your children's benefit. And, O my son, do not leave your brothers to the inhabitants of Mitsrayim, neither hurt their feelings, for see, I commit them to the hand of Elohim, and in your hand to guard them from the Mitsrites. And the sons of Yaakov answered their father, saying, O our father, all that you have commanded us, so we will do. May Elohim only be with us. And Yaakov said to his sons, So may Elohim be with you when you keep all his ways. Do not turn from his ways either to the right or the left in performing what is good and right in his sight. For I know that many and grievous troubles will befall you in the latter days in the land, even your children and children's children. Only serve Yahweh, and he will save you from all trouble. And it shall come to pass when you shall go after Elohim to serve him, and will teach your children after you and your children's children to know Yahweh. Then Yahweh will raise up for you and your children a servant from among your children, and Yahweh will deliver you through his hand from all affliction, and bring you out of Mitsrayim, and bring you back to the land of your fathers to inherit safely. And Yaakov ceased commanding his sons, and he drew his feet into the bed. He died and was gathered to his people. And Yosեպh fell on his father, and he cried out and wept over him, and he kissed him, and he called out in a bitter voice, and he said, "Oh, my father, my father!" And his sons' wives and all his household came and fell on Ya'aqob, and they wept over him and cried in a very loud voice concerning Ya'aqob. And all the sons of Ya'aqob rose up together, and they tore their garments, and they all put sackcloth on their loins, and they fell on their faces, and they threw dust on their heads toward the Shamayim. And the matter was told to Asenath, Yosеф's wife, and she rose up and put on sackcloth, and she with all the Mitsrayim women with her came and mourned and wept for Ya'aqob. And also all the people of Mitsrayim who knew Ya'aqob all came on that day when they heard this matter, and all Mitsrayim wept for many days. And also from the land of Canaan the women came to Mitsrayim when they heard that Ya'aqob was dead, and they wept for him in Mitsrayim for 70 days. And it came to be after this that Yosեպh commanded his servants, the physicians, to embalm his father with myrrh and frankincense and all manner of incense and perfume. And the doctors embalmed Ya'aqob as Yosեպh had commanded them. And all the people of Mitsrayim and the elders and all the inhabitants of the land of Goshen wept and mourned over Ya'aqob. And all his sons and the children of his household lamented and mourned over their father Ya'aqob many days. And after the days of his weeping had passed, at the end of 70 days, Yosեպh said to Pharaoh, "I will go up and bury my father in the land of Canaan, as he made me swear, and then I will return." And Pharaoh sent Yosեպh, saying, "Go up and bury your father as he said, and as he made you swear." And Yosեպh rose up with all his brothers to go to the land of Canaan to bury their father Ya'aqob as he had commanded them. And Pharaoh commanded that it should be proclaimed throughout Mitsrayim, saying, "Whoever does not go up with Yosեպh and his brothers to the land of Canaan to bury Ya'aqob shall die." And all Mitsrayim heard of Pharaoh's call, and they all rose up together, and all the servants of Pharaoh and the elders of his house, and all the elders of the land of Mitsrayim went up with Yosեպh. And all the officers and nobles of Pharaoh went up as the servants of Yosեպh, and they went to bury Ya'aqob in the land of Canaan. And the sons of Ya'aqob carried the coffin on which he lay, according to all that their father commanded them, so his sons did to him. And the coffin was of pure gold, and it was inlaid round about with shoham stones and bdellium. And the covering of the coffin was gold woven work, joined with threads, and over them were hooks of shoham stones and bdellium. And Yosեպh placed a large golden crown on the head of his father Ya'aqob, and he put a golden scepter in his hand, and they surrounded the coffin as was the custom of sovereigns during their lives. And all the armies of Mitsrayim went before him in this order: first all the mighty men of Pharaoh and the mighty men of Yosեպh, and after them the rest of the inhabitants of Mitsrayim. And they were all girded with swords and equipped with scaled armor, and the weapons of battle were on them. And all the lamenters and mourners went at a distance opposite to the coffin, going and weeping and lamenting. And the rest of the people went after the coffin. And Yosեպh and his household went together near the coffin barefoot and weeping. And the rest of Yoseph's servants went around him. Each man had his ornaments upon him, and they were all armed with their weapons of battle. And 50 of Ya'aqob's servants went in front of the coffin, and they scattered myrrh and aloes along the way, and all manner of perfume. And all the sons of Ya'aqob that carried the coffin walked on the perfumery, and the servants of Ya'aqob went before them, scattering the perfume along the way. And Yosեպh went up with a great company, and they did after this manner every day until they reached the land of Canaan. And they came to the threshing floor of Atad, which is on the other side of Yarden, and they mourned an exceedingly great and grievous mourning in that place. And all the sovereigns of Canaan heard of this matter, and they all went out, each man from his house, 31 sovereigns of Canaan, and they all came with their men to mourn and weep over Ya'aqob. And all these sovereigns saw Ya'aqob's coffin, and see, Yoseph's crown was on it, and they also put their crowns on the coffin and encircled it with crowns. And all these sovereigns made a great and grievous mourning in that place with the sons of Ya'aqob and Mitsrayim over Ya'aqob, for all these sovereigns of Canaan knew the might of Ya'aqob and his sons. And the report reached Maesaw, saying, Ya'aqob died in Mitsrayim, and his sons and all Mitsrayim are carrying him to the land of Canaan to bury him. And Maesaw heard this matter, and he was dwelling in Mount Seir, and he rose up with his sons and all his people and all his household, a people exceedingly great, and they came to mourn and weep over Yaakov. And it came to be, when Maesaw came, he mourned for his brother Yaakov, and all Mitsrayim and all Canaan again rose up and mourned a great mourning with Maesaw over Yaakov in that place. And Yosեպh and his brothers brought their father Yaakov from that place, and they went to Hebron to bury Yaakov in the cave with their fathers. And they came to Kiriath Arba, to the cave, and as they came, Maesaw stood with his sons against Yosեպh and his brothers as a hindrance in the cave, saying, Yaakov shall not be buried in here, for it belongs to us and to our father. And Yosեպh and his brothers heard the words of Esau's sons, and they were exceedingly wroth. And Yosեպh approached toward Maesaw, saying, What is this word which they have spoken? Indeed, my father Yaakov bought it from you for great riches after the death of Yitzhak, now 25 years ago, and also all the land of Canaan he bought from you and from your sons and your seed after you. And Yaakov bought it for his sons and his seed after him for an inheritance forever. And why do you speak these words today? And Maesaw answered, saying, You speak falsely and speak lies, for I sold no matter belonging to me in all this land, as you say, neither did my brother Yaakov buy whatever belonging to me in this land. And Maesaw spoke these matters in order to deceive Yosեպh with his words, for Maesaw knew that Yosեպh was not present in those days when Maesaw sold all belonging to him in the land of Canaan to Yaakov. And Yosեպh said to Maesaw, Indeed, my father established these matters with you in the record of purchase, and witnessed the record with witnesses, and see, it is with us in Mitsrayim. And Maesaw answered, saying to him, Bring the record, all that you will find in the record, so we will do. And Yosեպh called to Naphtali his brother, and he said, Hurry quickly, do not stand still, and please run to Mitsrayim and bring all the records, the record of the purchase, the sealed record, and the open record, and also bring all the first records in which all the matters of the birthright are written. And you shall bring them to us here, that we may know from them all the words of Maesaw and his sons which they spoke today. And Naphtali listened to the voice of Yosեպh, and he hurried and ran to go down to Mitsrayim. And Naphtali was swifter on foot than any of these stags throughout the wilderness, for he would go upon heads of grain without crushing them. And when Maesaw saw that Naphtali had gone to fetch the records, he and his sons increased their resistance against the cave. And Maesaw and all his people rose up against Yosեպh and his brothers to battle. And all the sons of Yaakov and the people of Mitsrayim fought with Maesaw and his men, and the sons of Maesaw and his people were smitten before the sons of Yaakov, and the sons of Yaakov slew of Esau's people 40 men. And Hushim, son of Dan, son of Yaakov, was at that time with Yaakov's sons, but he was about 100 amah away from the place of battle, for he remained with the children of Yaakov's sons by Yaakov's coffin to guard it. And Hushim was dumb and deaf. Still he understood the voice of fear among men, and he asked, saying, Why do you not bury the dead? And what is this great fear? And they answered him the words of Maesaw and his sons. And he ran to Maesaw in the midst of the battle, and he slew Maesaw with a sword, and he cut off his head, and it sprang to a distance, and Maesaw fell among the people of the battle. And when Hushim did this matter, the sons of Yaakov prevailed over the sons of Maesaw, and the sons of Yaakov buried their father Yaakov by force in the cave, and the sons of Maesaw saw it. And Yaakov was buried in Hebron, in the cave of Machpelah, which Abraham had bought from the sons of Heth for the possession of a burial place. And he was buried in very costly garments. And no sovereign had such honor paid him as Yosեպh paid to his father at his death, for he buried him with great honor like the burial of sovereigns. And Yosեպh and his brothers made a mourning of 7 days for their father.